SpotlightMediaStudios.com. Welcome to Education Unfiltered. Here is Mary Stucco.
Hello, this is Mary Stucco with Education Unfiltered, where we talk all things higher ed. And today I am fortunate enough to be joined by Michele Strasz, who is with the Capital Area College Access Network. Welcome.
Thanks, Mary. It's good to be here.
So we're going to talk about how many students and their families are concerned about the high cost of college, especially during these uncertain times. So you're the executive director of the Capital Area College Access Network, and you explore many ways that students can afford college. And we're going to really focus on FAFSA and scholarships and employer college benefits and dual enrollment options. So
lots to tackle.
A lot going on. There's a lot of options. First of all, tell me, what is Capital Area College Access Network?
Well, Capital Area College Access Network, or CAPCAN as we like to call it, is a local college access network affiliated with the Michigan College Access Network. Specifically, we are dedicated to promoting college attainment across our region. We cover both Ingham and Eaton counties. And we work with our partners in higher ed, in K-12, in business, philanthropy, other nonprofits, and even some parents to try and make sure that our families understand the college-going process, particularly first-generation families, and that we support them in navigating that process here in our community.
Very good. So college is very expensive, as we all know. Why would anybody want to get a college degree? What's the value in that?
Yeah, in fact, there's been a lot of conversation about that as we are, coming out of COVID, right, whether or not it's even worth it. But I think one of the things it's important to remind our students and parents is that 70% of the jobs already in this community require some type of post-secondary degree or credential. And so when I talk about college, I'm actually talking about all the education that you might be able to receive after high school. So obviously traditional 2- and 4-year degrees, apprenticeship programs, credentials or licenses that you might get, let's say, through an electrician's program. Even the military has so many options now for young men and women who enlist or go in as officers to start their education right off the bat. So we want families to know that we're talking about all education beyond high school. And the thing really about what is important for families to understand is what's the right match and fit for your young person. If a student is interested in going into a skilled trade, they do require education beyond high school. And so we need to make sure that they have the education, the preparation, and the mentoring in order to be able to succeed in that particular career. We don't assume, right, that most kids that go into fast food, which many of our students have done during COVID, they're working multiple jobs in retail and fast food, that's going to be their permanent career. Those are starting jobs, and we want to make sure that we have opportunities for them, but that it's the right fit for what they want to do with their lives. And some of that means that we need to do more on the front end while they are in middle school and high school, exploring those opportunities. But then also, of course, when they get to that post-secondary education, that they get a chance to try it out a little bit, right? Put it on and see how it works. So, co-ops, job shadows, other opportunities to go and talk to professionals in the field and make sure that that's the right fit, because you don't want to then spend all that money continuing that degree if you don't really want to go into that particular field in the long run. So there's a lot of complex issues related to the value of post-secondary education, but really it's what you want to do and how you're going to be able to be successful in that throughout your life.
Yeah, and I love how, things are different than when I was younger, where you really have an opportunity while you're still in high school to start trying different things on, and they can count towards college credit and all that. So let's just jump ahead a little bit to about dual enrollment in high school, because that seems to be something that's continuing to grow. It's an awesome program on many levels. So what does that mean when a student's dual enrolled while in high school?
Yeah, well, the state of Michigan has a goal for all high school students to have at least one post-secondary opportunity while they are in high school. And that can take a lot of different forms depending upon what your student's interested in. So, for example, many kids choose to go to their career center at their respective county, and that is where they can try on that education and career together. Some of those classes actually have credits, dual enrollment credits to college. So, for example, at the Wilson Talent Center, you can take your English class at Ferris and get that college credit ahead of time, right? So you're sort of testing the waters in those programs. We have early college programs where you actually can extend your sort of high school experience into the 13th year. And by the time you finish your 13th year, you've probably taken enough credits to have either a certificate or an associate's degree at Lansing Community College. Then there are other ways, whether it's through AP classes or IB classes, where students take almost a college course in high school. Then they take a test at the end of that. And if they score a high number on that test, usually a 4, 5, or a 6 on that AP or IB test, then they can apply those credits to college as an elective typically. So it's a way to get some college practice, but it's also a way to save some money. And so it's important for our students to understand that if that's something that interests you, you can do that while you are in high school. And it means, you're going to have some pretty good rigor in the programs that you're doing to try that out.
Exactly, because they don't make it easier because you're still in high school.
Exactly.
But it's a good way to prepare because then you know what to expect when you get to college. It's FAFSA time. Mm-hmm. So what is FAFSA and why is that important?
Right. So FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. It's a mouthful, but it is really the gateway to all of the financial resources that you might have access to as a student. That includes federal funds, so like a Pell Grant, which is free money to pursue your education. It might include work study, where a student would get a job on campus and then they would earn that money, and that money they could actually use for their expenses, living expenses. It also could include student loans, obviously, and those would be subsidized federal student loans. We certainly don't encourage families to incur a lot of debt, but sometimes a student loan is necessary in order to meet the full cost of tuition. So FAFSA is that gateway. We know that the FAFSA application can be a little complicated. So here in this community, we've developed this campaign called FAFSA Flocked, and we have a FAFSA flamingo as our mascot for the year. And we put up that flamingo, and we flock schools with flamingos and signs, and we try to make some fun out of the FAFSA process, but also have a real strong visual reminder of our seniors that it's FAFSA time. The FAFSA application opens October 1st, and the priority deadline is March 1st. So we have been out in the community starting to do FAFSA application assistance. We have 14 high schools in Ingham and Eaton County that have college advisors in those buildings, and those advisors work one-on-one with students completing the FAFSA, or they'll host these FAFSA nights where they'll invite students and their parents to come in and complete the FAFSA. We want people to know that the process is not as complicated as it might appear. I always joke that the hardest thing is setting up your security account, which is the FSA ID. And overall, if you've got everything in order, FAFSA takes you probably about 15 minutes. And the most important thing for both students and parents to know is you have to have your Social Security numbers.
Okay.
I tease kids all the time. You need to memorize that Social Security number when you hit senior year in high school, because you're going to need it now for the rest of your life. So it's really important for the student and one parent to complete that FSA ID to start the FAFSA process, and we can help you through the rest.
Okay, very good information. So what are some other resources for students to help pay for college? Things that maybe, because I know some students don't qualify because their parents make too much money, even though the parents may not be helping to pay for their education. So, but there's other options for students.
Right. So that's one misnomer about FAFSA. A lot of families will think, well, I won't be eligible for things. But the reality is the FAFSA is actually used by the college or university to also determine what kind of institutional aid that they might provide for you. So that's the first thing. Most colleges and universities do have their own funding that they also will give out to students. Some of it is merit-based, based upon your grades. Others is, based upon an internal scholarship, like the Lansing Community College Scholarship that is now open, that students have to apply for FAFSA in order to be able to receive it. Then certainly some of our community scholarships that are available through groups like Kiwanis and Rotary and Zonta, they all have scholarships. And I tell students all the time that very few students actually apply for those scholarships. So your chances of getting those local scholarships are really high, like maybe 1 in 4 people. Mm-hmm. So who wouldn't want to try your hand at completing that scholarship application? People aren't asking for huge essays and things like that for a lot of these community-based scholarships. So it's really just taken a half an hour of time, filling out and answering the questions. That's the key, just answer the questions. And then you're probably going to be eligible for a lot more money. And, we obviously encourage our students who have jobs to approach their places where they work to see whether or not there's any financial assistance from those employers as well, because that's another resource that's available to them.
Yeah, that was interesting. You sent me this information on all these, a lot of mostly fast food and kind of entry-level jobs that offer, do offer some, I guess they repay or tuition reimbursement or something like that. And I was surprised because you have places like Chick-fil-A, Home Depot, Taco Bell, UPS, Walmart, Papa John's, Starbucks, Pizza Hut, Chipotle, Gap, Marco's, KFC, Meijer, and McDonald's, just to get started.
Yeah, exactly. So there are a variety of options within those companies. And for many companies, that's now a benefit of employment. And that includes high school students. So high school students might have to complete an application rather than doing a reimbursement system. But, many of these companies now, in addition to raising the hourly wage, are offering this extra perk of a college reimbursement. So it's important to know that that's available. That's something you should ask about when you're in an interview with a company, if that's available to you, even as a high school student. If you happen to be an adult working for those organizations and maybe you're moving up into management, then definitely you want to ask about that, because they will want to help you succeed as a professional in that particular company. And so they'll help you to continue your education to develop as a manager in their company. So it's really important just to ask the question, is this something that's available to me now through your company? And how do I go about doing that?
Yeah, I do think it's more and more companies are offering it as an incentive to help everybody out. So I think it's one of those things you probably just don't assume, I can't go work at Chick-fil-A and have a, internship or have a possibility of having financial aid. So
definitely,
that's wonderful. Also, some other opportunities for students would be apprenticeship programs. So what do those look like?
Yeah, so every apprenticeship, particularly in skilled trades, so construction trades in particular, has a different type of apprenticeship process. And an apprenticeship is where you get to study and work at the same time. And you are trained typically with an advanced professional journeyman or woman. And you get the option of typically putting in 3 to 4 years of time working under that journey person. And when you're completed, then of course you have to take a licensing or a credentialing exam typically. And then you are considered a full or moved beyond apprentice to the journey person's stage. So most apprenticeship programs now have partnerships with community colleges or other post-secondary institutions. So while you're getting your on-the-job training, you're also earning potentially credits from a community college. So it's a great opportunity for people to work, obviously make money to help support themselves and their families, but then continue that education. And then when you finish up, you have a wage and certainly the benefits many times in the union support of having a very stable, secure position throughout your life. So it's something that we want students to think about, and this week is apprenticeship week. So
great.
Yeah, so it's really a good opportunity for students to explore, especially if you're interested in things that are technical or things that you like to work with your hands or things that you like to work outside. Those are a lot of those opportunities that are available in the apprenticeship programs. And there's more and more opportunities now, even in professional skilled trades that are starting to emerge. So there are some apprenticeship programs in healthcare. I'm not sure what's happened with if there's anything in insurance these days.
There is. So we are seeing it for health insurance companies.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing it like Delta Dental, Accident Fund. So I think they're kind of taking the idea that have gone on in the trades of the apprenticeship and bringing people in for a good year or extending your typical semester internship into something a little longer, because it does give everybody a better chance to get to know each other, see if it's a good fit. Because obviously in all industries, recruiting's very intense. And I think when you can do that internship and doing that apprenticeship, you could build that relationship. It's helpful. So yeah, I think that's a trend that's been starting with the trades, and it's moving into other industries now.
Yeah, that's great. And I know Lansing Board of Water and Light has an apprenticeship program that actually starts when kids are in high school.
That's awesome.
So if you're a Lansing or Waverly high school student and you're interested in going into a career in energy, the Lansing Board of Water and Light has their application open right now, and we'd be happy to help students navigate that process too.
Oh, that's fantastic. So tell me, where is a good place for people to reach you? How do they reach out and find out more information?
Yeah, so our website is capcan, CAPCAN.org. Check us out. A lot of our resources are on our website, but we also have social media, of course, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And students and their families can follow us. We put scholarship deadlines on every week. So if there's an upcoming scholarship, that information is there. We also maintain a pretty robust scholarship list of local and state scholarships. So feel free to reach out to us for that. But if you need help completing the FAFSA application, obviously if you have a college advisor at your high school, start with that person. But you could always email us at collegequestions@capcan.org, and we will be happy to either refer you to the college advisor at your school, or we will set you up with one of our staff college advisors who can assist you.
Wonderful. And is there any other last words of wisdom or advice you have for people who are listening to this?
Well, don't let money be your barrier. There's a lot more dollars out there right now post-COVID for scholarships, even for adults. So please reach out to your college or university that you're interested in, or give us a holler, and we'll be happy to help you through the process.
Well, thank you so much, Michele Strasz from Capital Area Access Network, or CAPCAN. This is Mary Stucco with Education Unfiltered. And we want to thank Davenport University for sponsoring this podcast.